Okay, let's talk about a name that, well, just screams mafia, doesn't it? Sammy the Bull Gravano. You hear that name, and you immediately picture scenes from the movies, this figure right at the center of one of America's most infamous crime families.
Absolutely, a name that carries a lot of weight.
And today, we're really going to dive deep into his story, the raw, unfiltered version, mostly drawn from his own words, his own experiences.
Yeah, this isn't just going to be a list of events.
No, we want to explore the choices.
Yeah.
How does a kid from Brooklyn end up a mafia underboss and then flip, become a government cooperator? It's quite a journey.
It really is. And I think this dive, it's going to uncover some surprising stuff. You get insights into how the mafia actually work day to day.
Great, that's important.
And the personal reasons behind some really extreme actions, plus the consequences, the ripples that spread out from a life lived, well, outside the law. We're talking loyalty, betrayal, incredible violence. And
a price paid, sometimes by people you really wouldn't expect. So let's get into it. Where does it start?
It starts, as you said, in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, born 1945, Sicilian parents. And he describes the place himself as entrenched with mafia type of people.
Paints a picture right away.
It does. And the family background is key here, I think. It speaks to that immigrant experience. His dad was a painter, but got lead poisoning. Terrible thing from the paints back then. Had to stop working.
Wow. Tough break.
Yeah. But his mother, she was a seamstress, really talented. She actually built up a small factory. Apparently her Jewish contractor in Manhattan gave her all the work she could handle. So it's this working class, striving environment.
But one where maybe the lines could blur, right? Different paths could seem appealing.
Exactly. Which brings us to the nickname. He wasn't always the Bull.
No, he was Little Sammy. Until he was about 10, I think.
That's right. His new Schwinn bike, which was a huge deal, expensive for his family, got stolen.
And he didn't just let it go.
Not at all. He gets into this furious fight with two older kids to get it back, right outside a bar where, maid guys hung out.
And one of them sees this little kid going at it.
Yep. And apparently yells out, "Look at him, he's like a little bull." And Sammy says, "That name just stuck, like glue."
It's quite the origin story. And school wasn't easy for him either, right? He had dyslexia.
Yeah, struggled a lot, held back twice. And then this really pivotal incident, maybe around 14 or 15.
That's a principal.
He claims the principal used a racial slur, insulted his parents, and Sammy broke his jaw.
Just broke his jaw.
Led to expulsion, obviously. And that really pushed him further onto the streets, into gangs like the Rampers.
But interestingly, he says the Rampers at first wanted nothing to do with the Mafia. They were just a street gang.
Yeah, that initial separation is interesting. It wasn't an immediate jump into organized crime. That school incident, though, breaking a jaw over a slur, it kind of foreshadows things, doesn't it?
It really does. That willingness to use pretty extreme force even then definitely made him stand out.
Then comes this kind of unexpected detour, the military.
Right. Drafted at 19, Vietnam era.
But he never actually saw combat. Served 2 years, stateside mostly, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, did jungle warfare training.
And he's very clear about this part. He says that's where he learned how to kill, the training, even without combat.
So he gets an honorable discharge, comes back to Brooklyn, straight back to the Rampers.
But things had changed a bit by then.
Yeah, the Rampers were starting to connect with street guys, more serious players. And this is where Shorty Spiro comes in.
From the Colombo family. Sammy called him a legend.
Huge influence. Spiro apparently offered Sammy family, brotherhood, promised him loyalty. "I'll never lie to you, never double-cross you."
And for Sammy, that was
music to my ears, he said. That sense of belonging was clearly something he was looking for.
So at first, he's just an associate in the Colombo family. Doing what? Larceny, hijacking?
Yeah, armed robbery, standard stuff for an associate. But he emphasizes, at this point, he'd never killed anybody.
That line hadn't been crossed yet, but it was coming. Carmine Persico.
Right. Powerful captain in the family. Gives Sammy a contract. Not to kill, though.
No, this was brutal in a different way. Beat a guy up, take his ear, because the guy was supposedly banging somebody's wife.
And Sammy describes hitting the man's hands with a blackjack so hard.
A finger flew off.
Yeah, just flew off. It's horrific.
It really is. And you think, how could that help someone's career? But in that world.
Exactly. That extreme violence, that willingness, it made Persico see him as a rising star. It showed he could follow orders no matter how messed up.
It's a completely warped value system.
Totally. And there's another little story from around then, the FBI picket line incident with Joe Colombo.
Oh, right. Colombo was protesting the FBI, claiming harassment.
And Sammy was there with Shorty. But Sammy instantly saw the danger. Told Shorty, basically, this is crazy, they're taking pictures of all of us, we're gonna end up in prison.
Pretty sharp for a guy relatively new to the game, seeing the long-term consequences when others maybe weren't.
Definitely shows an awareness. Which leads us to, well, the crossing of that line. The first kill, Joe Colucci, 1970.
This was complicated, right? Not a simple hit?
No. There was betrayal involved. Colucci's wife was having an affair with Sammy's friend, Tom Spiro. Colucci found out, got scared of Shorty Spiro, and apparently started plotting to kill Sammy and Tom.
So the plot gets back to the Colombo family leadership.
And Joe Colombo himself orders the hit on Colucci, and he picks Sammy to do it.
And the execution itself.
Pretty clean, according to Sammy. Shot him twice in the head, dumped the body out in Rockaway.
But it's his reaction afterwards that's just deeply unsettling.
Yeah, he expected to be nervous, sweating, like in the movies.
But instead,
he describes this out-of-body experience, a feeling of intense power over life and death.
And then he went home.
Slept like a baby, said he had absolutely zero negative thoughts or feelings.
Wow, that lack of remorse or even basic human reaction tells you a lot.
It really does. It suggests that for him, maybe for others in that life, violence wasn't a trauma, it was empowering. A source of control.
And this kill, it cemented his reputation, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Suddenly, Joe Colombo himself is inviting Sammy to stand right next to him at meetings. That's a huge signal in that world.
A massive sign of favor. Word spreads fast on the street.
Like a rumor, he said. Everyone knew Sammy was on the way up, a real rising star.
But even rising stars face internal politics, right? Jealousy.
Definitely. Shorty Spiro's brother Ralph got really jealous of Sammy's success.
And it blew up.
Yeah, big time. There was an incident at a bar, involved the widow of another guy, Ralph Brenga. Sammy felt she was being disrespectful to her dead husband.
And he confronted Ralph Spiro about it.
Very aggressively. Almost came to blows. It got serious enough that the commission had to step in.
The commission. The ruling body of all the families.
Exactly. And their solution was to transfer Sammy out of the Colombo family.
And into the Gambino family. Under Captain Taro Arello.
A very powerful figure. And this move, it highlighted a real difference in, management style, maybe.
How so?
Well, the Colombos, under Persico and Colombo, were known for being pretty trigger-happy. Violence first.
Okay.
But Taro Arello, Sammy says, was different, more strategic. Violence was a last fucking resort. He believed in listening to both sides of the story before making a move.
Interesting contrast. More businesslike, perhaps.
Maybe. More about long-term stability than just immediate force. It suggests a different kind of criminal enterprise.
Around this time, Sammy also got hit with a serious charge, right? A double murder indictment from '69.
Yeah, an unjust one, he claims. And he didn't have money for lawyers, bail, anything.
So what did he do?
Went on what he called a robbing rampage. Just stole everything, trucks, goods, anything not nailed down. He even talks about crashing into parked cars during one robbery, breaking his nose.
And kept going.
Kept going. That sheer determination, that ball, as he put it, apparently really impressed Taro Arello, showed his drive.
And then came the big step. Becoming a made man. 1976.
Huge moment. He got made alongside Taro's son, and Sammy said it changed everything.
What did being made actually mean in practical terms?
It meant real power. Brotherhood, not just within the Gambinos, but recognized across all the families. Doors opened, business opportunities, union control.
And he really leveraged that, didn't he? Built a serious construction business.
Oh yeah, a drywall company with 200 carpenters. He became a multimillionaire. Owned the Plaza Suite Disco, too. That was his headquarters.
And the union control was significant. Teamsters Union 282.
Very significant. So much so that, according to Sammy, even someone like Donald Trump had to work with him to get building built in Manhattan back then.
That's incredible reach. Shows how intertwined things were.
Absolutely. Which brings us into the 80s, and another hit.
This one was different, though. Sanctioned by the commission itself.
Right. A Philly boss had been killed without permission. This was retaliation, ordered from the top, and it highlights that weird rule.
You don't get paid for hits.
Nope. It's part of your job. It's about honor, respect within Cosa Nostra, not a paycheck.
So how did Sammy approach this one? Johnny Keys.
Methodically. He met with Keys twice beforehand, said he needed to know who I'm hunting.
What was Keys like?
Older guy, cunning, dangerous, rumored to have 50 hits under his belt.
Wow.
A serious figure. The third meeting, Sammy said, was the one where Keys died.
And Keys knew it was coming. He had last request.
He did. Very specific ones. Killed in a wooded area, Staten Island. He asked to be shot by a made man, Cosa Nostra style.
Okay.
And he asked for his shoes to be taken off before they killed him.
His shoes off. Why?
It was a message for his wife. Apparently it meant he died thinking of her, a sign of love, of sacrifice. If his shoes were off, she'd know.
That's deeply unsettling.
But also strangely poignant.
It gets even more complex. Because Sammy said over the 12 hours or so they had Keys, he developed this intense respect for him.
Respect for the man he was about to kill. Yeah. Called him a samurai, the epitome of our life. He even said, and this is wild, that he fell in love with him in a way, which made doing the hit feel dirty.
Wow. Falling in love with your victim right before. I mean, how do you even process that mix of honor and cold-blooded murder?
It's one of those paradoxes, isn't it? This rigid code existing alongside brutal reality. It's hard to reconcile.
Definitely. Things got even wilder later in the 80s, didn't they? At his club, Plaza Suite.
Oh, yeah. This drug trafficker, Frank Fiala, rented it for some crazy party, wanted to shave his head, give out cocaine, raffle boats, just bizarre stuff.
And then Fiala tried to muscle Sammy, take over the club.
Yeah, tried to intimidate him. Big mistake.
Sammy didn't take kindly to that.
Not at all. He killed Fiala, an unsanctioned hit, meaning the boss, Paul Castellano, hadn't proved it.
And there was that detail. Fiala being shot in the eyes.
Yeah, by one of Sammy's associates. Very controversial, even within the mob. Castellano was furious.
But Sammy stood his ground.
Absolutely. Defiant. Said he'd do it again to protect his people, even if Castellano ordered him killed for it.
That's a direct challenge to the boss's authority. Was that just self-defense, or was Sammy maybe testing the waters, flexing his own muscle against Castellano?
It certainly feels like a shift, doesn't it? A sign he wasn't just going to blindly follow anymore. And this feeds into the bigger tensions brewing.
Between Castellano and John Gotti.
Exactly. Early 80s, things were getting tense. Gotti was dealing drugs, which Castellano had forbidden. Big problem.
And then the tapes surfaced?
Uh-huh. FBI tapes of Gotti's crew talking way too much, discussing bosses, underbosses, everything. Put Castellano in a really tough spot.
So Castellano planned to take Gotti's crew out.
That was the word on the street. Wipe that whole fucking crew out. And then Gotti's mentor, Neil Della Croce, died. He was kind of a buffer between Gotti and Castellano.
With Della Croce gone.
The stage was set for a major power play, a massive betrayal.
December 16th, 1985. Sparks Steakhouse.
The hit on Paul Castellano and his driver, Thomas Bilotti.
And Sammy's role in this was central.
Absolutely critical. He planned it, controlled the scene with a backup shooter. And John Gotti, he was Sammy's driver for the hit.
The immediate result, Gotti takes over as boss of the Gambino family.
Yep. And Sammy gets promoted to capo. But it wasn't smooth sailing. A war broke out.
The car bombing that killed Frankie DeSico, Gotti's new underboss.
Right. That led to Sammy being elevated again, this time to acting consigliere. Basically, he was running the family day to day while Gotti was becoming, Gotti, the public figure.
So Sammy's running things, but there's still internal cleanup, right? More killings.
Yeah, necessary ones from their perspective. Guys like Nicholas, Nicky Cowboy, Marmondo, and Michael DeBat.
Why them?
Crack cocaine eviction. The fear was they'd get arrested and immediately start writing for the feds, giving everything up. Sammy said DeBat knew too much, and Nicky Cowboy introduced him to crack, so they both had to go. Ruthless logic.
Meanwhile, Gotti's beating cases left and right in court, getting that Teflon Don nickname.
Yeah, high-profile trials. But Sammy later admitted they weren't always clean wins. He talked about jury tampering in one case.
Hang off the jury.
$60,000, he said, to guarantee an acquittal. And all this media attention Gotti was soaking up, Sammy hated it.
Why? What was the problem?
He felt Gotti was destroying the mob, making them too visible, drawing too much heat, the opposite of the old ways, staying in the shadows.
It's interesting, though, where they drew lines. Remember the use of Hawkins' murder in Bensonhurst? Awful, racially charged.
Terrible incident. And Al Sharpton was planning protests.
And there was talk, apparently, of silencing Sharpton permanently.
But Sammy shut that down hard, argued that killing Sharpton would be catastrophic. There'll be 4 million people protesting the next day, he apparently said.
So, not out of morality, necessarily, but pragmatism. Realizing the blowback would be too much.
Exactly. A calculated decision about consequences, not a sudden change of heart. It showed they understood, on some level, how public perception could work against them.
But the walls were closing in anyway. December 1990, the Ravenite Social Club raid.
The big arrest. Gotti, Sammy, others, and this is where the FBI tapes became absolutely devastating.
Especially the ones where Gotti talked about Sammy.
Yeah, revealed Gotti's true feelings, and worse, his apparent plan.
The plan to use Sammy for one more hit.
Right. Order Sammy to kill Chin Gigante, the Genovese boss, and then
Gotti would have Sammy killed and blame all the previous murders on him, so Gotti could potentially walk free.
total betrayal. And for Sammy, hearing that on tape, that was the breaking point.
He decided to cooperate. November 1991.
A massive decision. He called it breaking every principle in my life, something he swore he'd never do.
But he felt Gotti had thrown me to the wolves.
Exactly. Self-preservation kicked in. His plea deal got him a 20-year cap, crucially avoiding life without parole.
Then came the trial. Gotti's 1992 trial. Huge spectacle.
Anonymous jury, which Sammy noted was unusual for Brooklyn federal court back then, prosecutors playing those damning tapes.
And Sammy's testimony. That must have been incredible courtroom drama.
Had to be. He confessed, right there on the stand, to 19 murders, and directly implicated Gotti in 4 of them.
Imagine the tension. The cross-examination. Gotti staring him down.
Sammy described it, constant hostile glances between them, but he stuck to his story.
And the impact was immense.
Undeniable. Gotti and his associate, Frank Locascio, got life without parole. But it didn't stop there.
His testimony took down dozens more, right?
38 other Mafia figures eventually convicted based on what he said, including Chin Gigante, the guy Gotti allegedly wanted Sammy to kill. Even a crooked cop went down. It was a seismic event for the mob.
But Sammy himself, his sentence caused a huge uproar.
Just 5 years, and with time served, he was out in less than a year. People were outraged. Cooperate confessed to 19 murders and walk free so soon.
And his response to the criticism.
Completely unrepentant. Basically, I don't give a flying fuck about them. Challenged critics, saying you can't judge unless you've lived in a man's shoes.
That defiance, is it genuine, do you think? Or just a front? Hard to say.
Very hard. He definitely felt justified given Gotti's betrayal. But remorse doesn't seem to be part of his vocabulary.
Life after prison wasn't exactly quiet, though. Witness protection first.
Yeah, under the name Jimmy Moran. Tried to live normal life in Arizona. Tempe, I think.
But he got pulled back in. Drug charges.
Yep. Arrested again, running an ecstasy ring, believe it or not. That led to a much longer sentence. And this time, it was hard time.
Solitary confinement.
6.5 years in solitary, in a supermax prison. That's brutal.
You know, when you look at the whole arc, it really cuts against that romantic image of the mafia we get from movies, doesn't it? Goodfellas, The Godfather. They make it seem almost cool.
No, completely. But Sammy's reality, the story he tells, it's the opposite. His point is that this life ends very badly. It's prison or death, usually. Often both.
He even said it himself, didn't he? Advice to kids.
Yeah, pretty stark. You want to be me? I got 22 years in prison. I was shot on 2 different occasions, stabbed once, shot my friends.
Doesn't sound glamorous when you put it like that.
Not at all. Just brutal. And interestingly, even within that brutality, he maintained certain lines. He spoke out strongly against killing women and innocent people.
Called it serial killer behavior. Said it wasn't Cosa Nostra, even if guys like Carmine Persico, who he suspected of being an informant, might do it.
Yeah, he had his own code, twisted as it might seem from the outside. Certain things were beyond the pale, even for him.
So we've gone deep into this life. Brutal, violent, yet strangely principled in its own warped way. It really makes you question things: loyalty, power, justice.
Absolutely. Sammy the Bull Gravano story, it's more than just a mafia tale. It's about ambition, survival, betrayal from the very top, and the consequences, the ripples that just keep spreading. It forces you to think about what words like honor even mean when the rules are constantly being broken by the guys in charge.
So after hearing this, what stands out to you? What does this deep dive into Sammy's life tell you about the real cost of that kind of power? And how do you even begin to reconcile the contradictions in his journey? Definitely something to think about until our next deep dive.